What's the theme of the week, Robin?
Rotorua! So
Yeah.
today we're going to be talking about beautiful Rotorua and all its amazing hidden gems and wonders. So Rotorua has everything that is New Zealand. It has volcanoes, it has geothermal activities, it has amazing culture, like the Maori culture is alive and vibrant in Rotorua, and obviously it's New Zealand. It has lakes, it has forest walks, and it has adventure activities indeed.
Yes.
So Rotorua is kind of New Zealand in a tiny little biome right here, and you can do so much there, from budget to luxury. So today, in this complete guide to Rotorua, we're going to go over all your options and give you a bit of a guide about this beautiful city. Without further ado, let's begin with some common questions about Rotorua.
Yeah.
So Laura, is Rotorua worth visiting?
It is absolutely worth visiting. I would say that you can't visit the North Island of New Zealand and miss Rotorua. So yeah, Rotorua, like Robin said, is packed with amazing geothermal landscapes, which are some of the best, not just in New Zealand, but in the world. And it's also a really great place to access the Maori culture. So if you're interested in that, then Rotorua is one of the best places to do so. So absolutely, Rotorua, just for those two reasons, but there's many more reasons, is why you should absolutely visit.
Where is Rotorua?
It is located on the North Island of New Zealand, specifically in the Bay of Plenty region. So that is kind of, well, should I point it out on the map, or are we not quite
No, we're
prepared
fine.
with that?
The map's too small.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, Bay of Plenty region of the North Island of New Zealand.
All right, so how do you get there?
So, Rotorua is located has very good road access. Located on State Highway 5. It is just nearly about 3 hours away from Auckland, but it is about 1 hour away from Tauranga and Taupo. And you can access it pretty easily. The nearest international airport would be Auckland Airport. And then from Auckland Airport, you can hire vehicles, you can take the bus. It is on the sort of domestic bus network of New Zealand. Also, Rotorua does have its own domestic airport as well, so you can fly there from various places around New Zealand. So yeah, very well connected to the rest of New Zealand, very easy to get to.
So how many days do you think people need in Rotorua?
So the absolute minimum, if you're on such a tight time frame, would be 1 day is okay. But really, we would recommend staying around for about 2 to 3 days with the amount of stuff there is to do in Rotorua. So yeah, our recommendation would be 2 to 3 days.
All right, so weather-wise, what is it like in Rotorua? Is it cold? Is it rainy?
It's kind of in the middle. It's kind of a sort of like not too cold, but not too hot either. So the average temperature throughout the entire year would be around between 12 and 13 degrees Celsius, which is about 55 degrees Fahrenheit. And then for the year-round rainfall that it receives, I think it's the yearly average rainfall it receives would be around 1,522 millimeters. So in inches, that is around 60 inches.
Freedom unit!
Yeah, I realised that hasn't actually updated.
Obviously, very important question. Why does Rotorua smell, Laura?
Yeah, so you'll
It's
notice,
famous, right?
You'll
It
notice
smells.
as you approach Rotorua, you will get this sort of eggy smell. So yeah, a lot of people do.
By that she means rotten eggs.
Yeah, like rotten egg smell. A lot of people do comment on it when they go to Rotorua, but you do get used to it pretty quickly. It's not as bad as it may seem. But the reason it smells is because of all the geothermal activity there. It is
Well, you can see on the photo right here.
Yeah, so it creates, it's the hydrogen sulfide that creates that smell.
All right, so because of all the beautiful geothermal wonders, basically. All right, so next we'll talk about what to do in Rotorua. Okay, so let's cover what is there to do in Rotorua? So Rotorua is known for its geothermal park and for their Maori experience, but the town also has its fair share of adventures and relaxation. So there is pretty much everything in Rotorua between adrenaline and kind of super relaxing. And so let's talk about the top experiences in Rotorua. So Laura, what are the main things, like the most popular things to do in Rotorua?
Okay, so some top experiences include going to see some geothermal wonders, specifically at the Waiotapu Geothermal Park. This is the location where you'll find the famous champagne pools, which is that sort of orange-rimmed pool that you've probably seen many photos of. We've also even featured a photo of it already on this video.
Yes.
Also, another thing to do is to relax at one of the many hot pool complexes around Rotorua, not just in the city, but there's plenty outside of the city as well. There's also free hot springs, so you can take your pick between going to do the more luxurious activity of going to a hot pools complex, or the budget activity of finding a nice hot stream that you can sit in.
Actually, the one featured on photo right now is a free one.
Yes. So that's at Kururau Park for anyone that wants to know. Next up, you can roll down a hill in a giant hamster ball known as a zorb. That's one of the sort of more wacky adventure activities that you can be doing in Rotorua. Something kind of similar, kind of fun, kind of wacky is racing down the luge tracks, which is at the top of the Skyline Gondola in Rotorua as well. Of course, a Maori experience is an absolute must in Rotorua. One that's really cool is the Te Patu, previously known as Tamaki Maori Village. They do a really awesome sort of evening cultural show, hangi, taking you through some different sort of traditions of the Maori culture. It's a very sort of interactive experience, so that is a really popular one to do. You can also, to be more on the nature side of things, there is Wingspan, which is the National
Birds of Prey
Centre. So you can go and check out some of New Zealand's native birds of prey that are sort of been rescued from perhaps being injured. They are then, rehabilitated and ready to go back into the wild. And then finally, you can do, there's some quite a few really fun day trips that you can do from Rotorua. So if you want to base yourself in Rotorua, you're not too far from attractions like Hobbiton. And we do have a whole article on nzpocketguide.com, which are the best day trips to take from Rotorua if you want to get some other ideas.
And speaking of articles, so there's a link to our complete guides of Rotorua in the description of this video. And in there, you'll find a lot of extra links within the article, such as our 20 favorite things to do in Rotorua, etc. So right now, we're just giving you a bit of a snippet on Rotorua, just like the TLDR of Rotorua, but man, there is much more. Okay, so it's New Zealand. Laura, you've already talked about 4 seasons one day. At times, it rains. So what is there to do in Rotorua when it rains?
Yeah, luckily Rotorua is not actually a bad place to be when it's raining. It does have plenty of all-weather activities. Speaking of which, whitewater rafting is a good one to do whatever the weather. You can whitewater raft the world's highest commercially rafted waterfall on the Kaituna River.
It's a very specific title.
It is very specific, but very fun. You can also go to the Indoor Entertainment Centre of Motion Entertainment to do some mini golf, laser tag, escape rooms. Bowling. It's like an all-in-one sort of entertainment centre there. And then finally, you can relax in some hot pools. It doesn't really matter if it's raining. The experience is still very relaxing. For instance, Polynesian Spa is the hot pool complex that you'll find right in the city centre of Rotorua.
And in fact, I would add that most of the Maori shows can be done undercover inside Maoris, for example. So that's still not going to be something that's going to be cancelled if there is bad weather. And if you are well ready for the New Zealand weather and you packed your good rain jacket, as we advise all the time, well, going to the geothermal park actually when it's raining is, in my opinion, even better, because there is even more steam and there is even more activities when the cold water reaches the really hot water of the center of the earth. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. All right, so at times it rains in Rotorua, but at times the sun goes down.
Yes,
So
every day, in fact.
in fact, every day, that's right. There is two different amounts of daylight in New Zealand. There is the light and the dark. Anyway, at dark, at night, what is there to do in Rotorua?
Yeah, so, if you've got some energy at the end of the day, what else can you do? You can go to a Maori cultural show. There are a couple of evening ones that are really great. Another one that we haven't mentioned so far is Mitai Maori Village, and they do a really good evening show as well, complete with a hangi buffet, so you can taste those earthy tastes that are created when slow cooking food in an underground oven known as a hangi. And then finally, you can do the Redwoods Tree Walk, which is
Tree walk.
A tree walk that so this is a series of bridges that are suspended within the Redwood forests, and they put these amazing light displays up there. So it's just very pretty, very nice to check out.
All right, so next up we'll be talking about where to stay in Rotorua, because someone needs to sleep.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about where to stay in Rotorua. So there is a huge breadth of places to stay in Rotorua and of offering over there, from budget to luxury to everything. And on the website, on nzpocketguide.com, we do have our list of the best accommodation in Rotorua, the best hotels, best motels, best backpackers, self-catering, budget, family, luxury, romantic accommodation, all of that. So we've got you covered with all of our recommendation by all the different type of themes that you have. And all those places, we've been there, we checked them out for you, so we know, kind of they're good. That said, if we just want to give you a little bit of an understanding about some places you want to stay in Rotorua, Laura has chosen a few depending on what type of traveler you may be.
Yeah, so starting with what hotel we would recommend for Rotorua, a really good hotel would be the Regent of Rotorua, which is a boutique hotel located in a good central location, so it's easy to walk to city centre attractions. It's also very characterful as a hotel. It is very design driven, so it's not just, another standard, another standard sort of just plain hotel. It has a lot of features to it. Also, on top of that, its restaurant is very reputable. Even people that aren't staying there, they do go to the Regent restaurant. It's particularly famous for its degustation dinner there, which has a lot of sort of New Zealand related food. So if you want to try something that is more, specifically New Zealand, then its restaurant is really good for that. So yeah, that would be definitely a highly recommended hotel if you're staying in Rotorua. Of course, if you can get a booking there. So that's why it's always good to go onto our website and check out a variety of options, because since Rotorua is a big tourist hotspot, you will find that, some of the best places do book up quickly. So if you're looking more for a motel style accommodation, which means that you'll have access to perhaps your own kitchen, self-catering facilities, it's more of like a home away from home sort of experience. You may have multiple bedrooms, that sort of thing. Then a highly recommended one would be the Kings on Peace. It's located on what is called the Motel Mile of Rotorua, which is basically one of the main roads heading into the town, called Fenton Street, is packed with motels. So you often are overwhelmed with choice on here, but the sort of more upmarket option here would be Kings on Peace, where it is very modern, very stylish, and it would be more of a treat yourself sort of motel. But it has, a lot of all those sort of homely amenities there as well. If you're looking for a holiday park, perhaps you're traveling around in a camper van, you want to camp, or you want a place where you can use self-catering facilities as well, something that is more affordable and budget, then Holden's Bay Holiday Park is a very popular holiday park to check out. particularly, it has really good facilities. They do have free indoor hot pools that use natural geothermal waters to keep it nice and warm. They also have an outdoor swimming pool. In summer, they have children's playground. So if you are traveling as a family, you need to entertain kids, or even if you're not really traveling as a family and you just want to go relax in some hot pools, then Holden's Bay Holiday Park is a really good option and affordable. Next up, what is the best hostel? So if you want to go super cheap and stay in a backpacker hostel, then a Rock Solid right in the city centre of Rotorua is a great option. They do have lots of variety of rooms, so you can choose a bed in a dorm, but you can also choose private rooms as well. The sort of fun feature about this hostel is that it has this sort of big, in its living area, it has this big sort of glass window looking into a rock climbing wall center, so you can watch people rock climbing, which is pretty cool. They also have things like pool tables in the hostel as well, so there's ways to keep entertained if you're just sort of having some downtime. And then finally, if you want to go super luxury, if you want to really treat yourself in Rotorua, then
Pinky up.
With your pinky up, then there's nowhere more luxurious than the Solitaire Lodge, which is located on the shores of Lake Tarawera. It is a lodge where, all your food is included. You have a mini bar. You are served, pre-dinner canapes, all this sort of lush stuff. They have, their own, jetty for the lake. So,
give Laura a snack and she call it the lush stuff.
They have like their own jetty on the lake, so they can do boat transfers to wherever you may want to go. There's actually some really cool features, like natural hot pools around Lake Tarawera. And the gardens there are obviously pristine. There's lots of beautiful spaces to relax. So if you can afford it, choose it.
All right, and I'll add one of my own. I'll add the Four Canoes Hotel. That's where we stayed last. And what I like is that they're not necessarily right in the center of Rotorua, so it's easy to get your car in, get your car out, without all the faff of getting in and out of the city center and maneuvering yourself there. So you can easily get to where you want to go, which I do like, and they have their own swimming pool, so that's quite cool. All right, so we do have links of all those accommodations and many more on nzpocketguide.com. So if you want a quick rundown of all that, just head to the link in the description of the video. And in the meantime, we'll continue covering Rotorua with the Rotorua for backpackers, or budget travelers, should I say. So, can you visit Rotorua on a budget? Yes, you absolutely can. I'm answering my own question. That's right, Laura. You didn't see this one coming, did you? So, once you picked your one hero activity that you are going to spend big bucks on to enjoy Rotorua, then you can do a lot of stuff on the budget in Rotorua. Even a lot of free stuff in Rotorua as well. And so, because there is such a variety, well, we made a little bit of a list for you. So, Laura, what are the best things to do on a budget in Rotorua?
Okay, so there are some free
Ooh, the speaking
thermal thermal pools around Rotorua where you can you can experience some of that geothermal activity. A really easy one to find is in Kurirau Park, which is a city centre park. They do have some sort of man-made hot pools there where you can just dip your feet in. They're just foot baths, but it's a good way to sort of experience that. But on the outskirts, you'll find places like Kerosene Creek, which is particularly famous for its free hot pool there. There's also walks to do around Rotorua, so you can do, for instance...
What a surprise for New Zealand, by the way.
Yes, there's always walks somewhere to see some cool stuff, and that's no different in Rotorua. You can do the Blue Lake Walk to see some beautiful blue lake scenery. You can also do the Tarawera Trail, which is also to see some lake scenery, but right at the end of the trail there are some natural hot pools that you can relax in, and then what most people do is take a boat back across the lake back to where they started. So yeah, they're two really cool walks that are free, or at least very cheap if you do decide to take the boat back.
What if I want to see some birds?
If you want to see some birds, go to the Wingspan National Prey Centre. It has a very affordable fee to go check out the beautiful birds. And also around, I think it's around 2 p.m. each day, they do one of those sort of falconry shows where they have a New Zealand falcon that goes and does some badass stuff and then comes back.
Wow, that's what falcons do.
We do have a video on our channel actually of us visiting Wingspan, so just watch the video and you'll get the gist. And
What if I want to grab some fun and cheap bites?
Yeah, so there are a couple of markets actually in Rotorua, and one of the very popular options is the Thursday night Rotorua night market. So if you want to, sort of mingle with the locals, get that sort of community vibe, and try some cool street food, then Rotorua night market is a great option.
All right, so we do have plenty of suggestions for budget accommodation as well in Rotorua, as we mentioned earlier. So make sure to hit the link in the description below. But yeah, Rotorua is fantastic on a budget. But next, we'll talk about Rotorua for luxury travelers. If you are traveling with a wealth of a budget, with a lot of dough to explore New Zealand, well, you can do a lot of really exciting, exhilarating and unique things in Rotorua. So yeah, Laura, take it away. What can you do?
Yeah, so if money's no option, then by all means, go with the likes of Volcanic Air and do a helicopter tour around Rotorua. You can fly over various volcanoes and check out those geothermal areas from the air. There's even an option where they land on the top of Mount Tarawera,
which is a stunning volcano.
Yes, so yeah, there's lots of really cool options to do there by helicopter. You can also do a soiree. So instead of doing, the Maori experiences where you go and see cultural shows, that sort of thing, there's a more authentic, down-to-earth experience with Kahukiwi experiences, which are a local Maori family, and they do sort of private tours, teaching you more of the Maori way of life for people living in Rotorua, and which is a very different experience to what you will get at other Maori experiences around Rotorua. You can also do a 4-wheel drive tour at Off-Road New Zealand. They will take you on some crazy dirt trails around the forest. They have options where they do the expert driving for you, but there's also some self-drive options as well. So if you want to experience a bit of adrenaline, there is Off-Road New Zealand. Another experience is to join Forest Eco Tours for a private guided walk experience. Well, they'll take you to a really off the beaten track forest at the Whirinaki Forest Park, and they will take you to one of the most beautiful forests in the North Island to do some bird watching and take you to just one of those places that not many tourists get to go to.
Very, very seldom visited by tourists, but it's stunning, yeah.
And then finally, you can take a premium sightseeing tour with Elite Adventures Rotorua. They will take you to some geothermal hotspots. There are some hot pool complexes included in the price. They'll take you to some sort of hidden gems, that sort of thing. So if you want a sort of private sightseeing tour that is away from the crowds, then that's a really good option to go for.
All right, and again, when it comes down to accommodation, luxury accommodations in Rotorua, there is plenty of options from like international hotels, luxury boutique lodges, and B&B accommodations. We have you covered on nzpocketguide.com, so check it out. Next up, we'll talk about family accommodation. So are you planning to head to Rotorua with the little ones and trying to make some memorable experience? Well, Rotorua's got you covered with epic wildlife, adrenaline, safe adrenaline activities, and a lot of fun stuff to do. So Laura, take it away with the best activities to do in Rotorua for families.
Yeah, so a really good family option is Agrodome, which is a farm show of New Zealand. So you can learn about sheep shearing, but you can also take a tour of an orchard and learn more about the sort of, the crop, the farming, kiwi fruit, that sort of thing, and the different products grown in New Zealand. So this is a really good sort of interactive tour that is very family friendly. So Agrodome, I think, is a must for families. Next up, the National Kiwi Hatchery. So if you want to see a kiwi bird, but better yet, a baby kiwi bird, so cute, then the National Kiwi Hatchery is where they incubate eggs that have been taken from the wild. They sort of grow and nurture those kiwi chicks until they're about 1 kg, and then they're released back in various forests in the wild, and that's part of the conservation process in New Zealand for kiwi birds, and you can learn all about that at the National Kiwi Hatchery, which of course kids will love the animal sort of interactions there. Next up, a very funny tour is the Rotorua Duck Tours. So you will get into an amphibious vehicle and explore Rotorua, do some sightseeing, which, this vehicle also goes on a lake. So, you'll be in the water, you'll be out of the water. Just a really cool, different way of sightseeing, which is really fun for the kids as well. I think they also give out those little duck.
I think so, yeah.
Those duck sounding things. Anyway.
Very specific name. I like it.
I can't think of words. Next up, there are the family-friendly walks and bike trails of the Whakawera Redwood Forest. So this is a forest full of Californian redwood trees that have grown to humongous heights. And now there's a whole...
Very judgy.
Now there's a whole network of trails that you can experience by bike or on foot. There's also some nice crystal clear pools in there as well. You can make trips as long or as short as you like. So that's why it's so good for families. If you want to cut things short, there's usually a trail back to the car park quickly. And then finally, another really good family-friendly activity is Velocity Valley, which is kind of like an adventure theme park. So they have jet boating there. They have sort of this air tunnel skydiving thing. They have a really nuts sort of monorail schweeb thing where you race each other in these capsules. It's really weird and crazy. And they also have this big swing, and you can do bungee jumping there as well. We do have a video on this channel, so you can check out us visiting Velocity Valley. It was originally called something else, but now it's called Velocity Valley. What was it called before that?
Agro
Ventures,
yeah.
Check out our video on that.
All right, and again, plenty of accommodation suggestions for you and your family in the website, which is in the link in the description of this video. Here you go.
Some more romantic experiences, perhaps?
Love in Rotorua. What is love in Rotorua? What does love looks like in Rotorua?
How do you experience love?
Love. All right. So soothing mineral thermal hot springs, amazing restaurants, wineries, and beautiful treetop light shows at night. How more romantic does it get? Well, it doesn't. Rotorua gets all of your love needs covered with those best activities to do for couples.
All right, let's get started with a very romantic experience, which is doing a kayak or stand-up paddleboard tour under some beautiful glowworms. So on Lake Rotoiti, which is right next to Lake Rotorua, there are a couple of tours taking you out to this glowworm cave on the lake, and you can sort of, you can just sort of paddle underneath the beautiful glowworm displays, and there's just nothing more romantic. So one of the companies doing that is called Paddle Rotorua, but there are a couple of different companies doing this experience. So you can check out our website to see the different companies doing that, or otherwise, there's also Google it, and you can find some different companies doing that as well. Next up, we have horse trekking. So you can do horse trekking with Adventure Playground. They'll take you up onto some high ground, some hilltops, right beside Lake Rotorua, so you can get some beautiful views as you are gallivanting through the fields.
Oh, gallivanting. That's the word. That's the word I enjoy, Laura. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Next up, you can do an experience together, which is getting inside a giant Zorb ball, 2 at a time, and rolling.
Yeah, you can do that as a couple, which is quite cool. Not a lot of the adrenaline activities can you do just at 2 people.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is quite cool.
You know, rolling around in a big hamster ball together. You know,
you can make it through that. You make it through life.
Exactly.
If you're on a honeymoon, you've got to do it.
Absolutely. So we did touch on before earlier in the video about the Redwoods Tree Walk. Well, this is a very romantic activity to do on an evening with those beautiful light displays. And yeah, just those pretty lights, just add an ambience to the forest, which, ooh la la, what can I say? And then finally, I just see where the sentences go sometimes, and that's where that one ended up. Next up, you can go on the Rotorua canopy tour. So the reason this is good for couples is that there is a zip line there where you could go down at the same time. So they have 2 zip lines side by side, and you can enjoy flying through the trees together like a couple of lovebirds, the kereroo. Which is the New Zealand wood pigeon, and fly through the trees, and it's an adventurous couple activity. What can I say? Maybe I should stop saying things and continue.
All right, next up we'll talk about where to eat in Rotorua. Let's wrap up a coverage of Rotorua with where to eat. You're feeling peckish, you want a snack, you want a full meal, you're feeling starving because you've done so many adventures. Well, we've got you covered with a lot of amazing places to eat in Rotorua. But before we start talking about specific places, remember that in Rotorua there is a street called Eat Street. Head to Eat Street and you'll have plenty of awesome restaurants there. So in case you're lost, just ask to go to Eat Street and you'll be fed. Well, you'll have to pay for it, but you'll be fed. All right, Rotorua. Rotorua by Laura. Anyway, we're losing our marbles today. Best restaurants in Rotorua.
Okay, speaking of Eat Street, one place that you can go there, which is quite a reputable restaurant. It is like bistro style, high end, is Atticus Finch. So that's a good place to go treat yourself. Next up, you can go to a nice Vietnamese restaurant. Vietnamese food is very popular in New Zealand, so one of the best places to try that in Rotorua is at Saigon 60s, it's called, which is on Fenton Street. Next up is one of our personal favourites, which is Alibaba's Tunisian Takeaways. This one is just up from Eat Street, so pretty easy to find. It has good, affordable food, really nice fresh ingredients. The guy there is very friendly. That's all you can ask really from an eatery. Next up, we have El Mexicano Zapata. So if you want to try some Mexican food, this is, again, just up the road from Eat Street. This is a really good place for some Mexican food. It's really quirkily decorated, quite small, quite nice and intimate, but a really, really good place to go. And the prices aren't too shocking either. Next up, if you want to try some pizza and pasta, you go to Giovanni's.
Mandatory accent.
Yep. Giovanni's is a good place to go for all your Italian needs. Next up, if you want to do a bit more high-end fine dining, then the Mokoya restaurant, which is it's located in it's one of the hotel restaurants on the lakeside that I forget the name of now, but it is a really good place to go.
It's not Sudima, isn't it?
No, it's not. Lake something. It doesn't matter.
All right.
It doesn't
Moving
matter.
on. That's
but
fine.
Mokoya restaurant, you go. What's really good about that place is that a lot of the food that they do there is made with sort of indigenous ingredients. So food that's made from native plants in New Zealand, sort of like Maori cuisine as well, but in a fine dining setting. So that's what kind of makes them more unique. They are under construction for renovation type thing at the moment, but they are aiming to open back up very soon.
Yeah.
And then finally, the Regent Room. I was talking about the Regent Hotel earlier in the video, the Regent of Rotorua it's called. Well, this is their restaurant, which is very highly regarded. They do have a really good degustation dinner there, but even just going for your sort of normal meals there, it is more of a a place if you want to go treat yourself and experience a more upmarket dining experience, then the Regent Room is great for that.
And if you're really into food, there are a couple of great food tours and experiences in Rotorua. So we're going to go over them really quickly.
Yeah, so obviously a Maori cultural tour in an evening where a hangi dinner is served is a really good option. There's Mitai Maori Village, there's Te Patu, and there's also the Whakawira Living Maori Village, which is actually more in the daytime. It's not an evening one, but they also do some Maori food there. You can also go to the Mamaku Blue Orchard tour. So it's a blueberry orchard, and you can go take a tour of their orchard and buy some blueberry related stuff there. There's also wine tasting that can be done at the Stratosphere restaurant at the top of the Skyline Gondola. There's also craft beer. There's a craft beer pub in Rotorua town, so you can try out the New Zealand craft beers. Going to the markets, there's the Rotorua Night Market, and then finally, if you want to do something really unique, then Treetops Lodge and Estate offer a wild food tour where they teach you about foraging for wild food in New Zealand.
Yeah, so you can find your own ingredients. All right, so that wraps up our complete guide to Rotorua. If you have any questions, the comment section is yours, and we always try to go over the questions from time to time. And if you also have some suggestions, something we haven't mentioned in Rotorua that we absolutely should have, put it in the description. Put it in the comments. And if somebody put it, just vote it up. So something that's going to be voted up all the way to the top, then is going to make it onto our guide when we update it next. All right. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all the stuff that evil Google wants you to do.